Intuition and other psychic abilities. We have so many more intuitive abilities than we know or use. The knowledge and wisdom that can be gained from these untapped talents are extraordinary, and they mirror the incredible insights that can be accessed through past life memories. In my book Messages from the Masters, I describe an exercise that I have been including in my workshops for years. This exercise is called psychometry, and it has led to many amazing and wonderful moments, a number of which are described in this chapter. In this experiential exercise, which I usually conduct in groups of 2, the participants exchange small objects belonging to them. The object may be a ring, a watch, a bracelet, keys, lockets, and so on. The item chosen should be one that is touched and handled primarily by its owner. I begin the experience by doing a brief relaxation exercise, which helps the participants to focus and to quiet their minds. With their eyes closed as they remain in a relaxed state, the 2 people hold their partner's object gently in their hands. The participants are instructed to become aware of any thoughts, feelings, impressions, or sensations that come into their awareness. The impressions may be psychological feelings, moods, or emotions, physical bodily sensations, psychic visions, messages, thoughts, childhood or past life scenes, or spiritual messages or images from other dimensions. After about 5 minutes have elapsed, I instruct the group to share every aspect of the experience with their partner. It is very important to share every sensation, thought, and impression, even if it seems silly or weird, because these are often the most accurate and powerful hits. Frequently the validation of one of these strange impressions is immediate and most meaningful. Whether it is the energy of the object being held that facilitates the intuitive transfer of information or the relaxed focusing of the mind, the net result is an awakening and a validation of the intuitive ability we all possess. This exercise is safe, simple, instructive, and a lot of fun. Information about our past lives and the spiritual dimensions can also be gleaned from other intuitive insights as well as from dreams, through meditation, or even spontaneously, as in déjà vu experiences. The quality and detail of these psychic perceptions are similar to those found in past life regressions. For example, the following account of a psychometry encounter evokes many of the same feelings and messages that Lee experienced after Richard's death in that marvelous story from the previous chapter. Both stories share the powerful and immediate presence of a loved one who had recently died and who brings comfort from the other side. Whether the avenue to that other side is established through past life regressions, or through psychometry, or spontaneously through other intuitive channels does not matter. All these roads lead to the same place, the same awareness. We are always loved. We are never alone. The lake house. They say that it is best to begin at the beginning. My very first experience with the fact that we are all connected, as Brian says, took place on the first day of a week-long training in the summer of 2006. Brian was explaining the process of psychometry to the entire class of approximately 130 people. I had no previous exposure to it, and frankly I did not think that I could do it. I listened to Brian say that images might begin to come to our minds as we held a personal object from a neighbor in the class. Our task, he said, was simply to allow this, to notice what the images were, and to refrain from judging them. And then, of course, to share them. The person next to me was an attractive, casually dressed woman in her 50s. We exchanged comments regarding how interesting yet strange this felt, and each of us professed our hope that the other wouldn't be too disappointed, for we had never done this before. We gave each other our watches as the house lights were dimmed and the exercise began. I truly did not expect to pass this little test of my psychic abilities, but I remembered what Brian had said about noticing what we experienced without any questioning or judgments. As I held the woman's watch, the first image that I saw was of a lovely house on the edge of a lake, surrounded by tall pine trees. The roof and sides of the house were covered with beautiful cedar shakes. At the water's edge of the house were covered with beautiful cedar shakes. At the water's edge was a nice green canoe, with a paddle resting inside. Next to that, pulled up on the bank in the same fashion, was an old rowboat with 2 oars. On the porch of the camp was a 10-speed bike, and to the side was a fire pit made of large rocks. A big, beautiful fire burned inside it. I saw an elevated, fast-moving train in a major city, and then the camp again, with a light blue frisbee on the porch and the same wonderful log fire in the pit. I felt an immense sense of peace, love, and happiness enter me, though I did not know why or from where. The lights came on, and Brian asked us to share everything, however seemingly meaningless, with our partner. As I disclosed the images that had come to me, my partner began to weep. I started to stop, but she insisted that I continue. When I finished, I asked what this meant to her. Still crying, she began to reveal the following. She and her partner of many years had shared a profound, spiritual love. He was her best friend. He had recently died of a fast and aggressive form of cancer. He had learned of it in January and crossed over a few short months later. She was still deeply grieving. They owned a camp on a lake in the northeast. They loved to go there together whenever they could, to relax, rejuvenate, and recuperate from their stressful, hectic jobs. A nice little place in a beautiful setting, it had cedar shakes on the roof and the sides. At the water's edge were an often used green canoe and a rowboat. They liked to hang out and toss a light blue frisbee. The 10-speed bike on the porch was his, and it was always there. He loved to ride whenever he could, there in the country and also in the city, where he lived and worked. Every day when he went to work, he almost always took the elevated train. Outside, next to the lake house, was a large, beautiful fireplace. They often sat out under the stars, gazing at the fire and talking. His funeral plans had been left to her. He simply requested immediate cremation. His passing had devastated and immobilized his partner. She had now finally begun to summon the strength to have a proper memorial service for this man whom she so loved. She had just sent out over 100 invitations to the service, as he had friends and family all over the world. On the front of the invitation was a large photograph of a beautiful log fire burning in their fire pit. Now I was overwhelmed and amazed. I explained the feeling of peace, love, and happiness that had entered and enveloped me while holding her watch. Still crying, she said that she had no doubt that these images and feelings were given to me by her partner. She could sense him there in the room with us, and she now knew that he was with her still, that he loved her, and that he was at peace and happy. She also felt a message that he wanted her to feel that same love, peace, and happiness. Now, finally, she had felt it, and she could begin to finish her grieving process and move forward with her life. She and I, two completely random strangers, were sitting together at a conference. Moments later, a deeply personal, touching, and spiritually cleansing experience had taken place between us. Michael Brown. Michael is a wonderful therapist, not a famous psychic or a medium. In fact, he had very little confidence in his psychic abilities and, as he explained, hoped that his partner would not be disappointed. We actually are all psychics and mediums. We all possess incredible extrasensory talents that our ego and logical mind keep hidden from us. With my permission to let his intuitive gift emerge from the shadow of his left brain, Michael was, within seconds, describing this very detailed visual and emotional vista. He even saw how many Oz were present, the green canoe, and the old rowboat. His intuitive visions brought great relief to his partner on that warm summer afternoon. Michael is humble and will minimize his contribution, but he changed his partner's life that day. He helped her move past her despair and into her healing, allowing her to feel the love, peace, and happiness that her lover so wanted to share with her. Jacqueline, the author of the next story, also participated in a psychometry exercise with a stranger, and she too was able to relay and receive messages that Soulmate. This is a part of Zindagi Ki Roshni consultancy. It has been established for those who have lost someone and for those who are very sad in their life. About 100 PDF books and 20 short audio books of this topic will be sent to those who join it. This data will be sent to their email or WhatsApp. If you want to join this organization, then please send WhatsApp message to this number.